From Brazil to Iran, thousands have gathered to show solidarity with U.S. protests over the killing of George Floyd. He died after a Minneapolis cop kneeled on his neck for nearly 9 minutes. The worldwide events echoed peaceful messages in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. In South America, hundreds of protesters came together outside Rio de Janeiro's state government building on Sunday. They demanded an end to police brutality against Black people within Rio's working-class neighborhoods, known as favelas. Iranians held a small demonstration on Saturday outside the Swiss embassy. 2 Syrian artists painted a mural in memory of Floyd in war-torn Idlib. And in Palestine, a group gathered to protest the killing of Iyad al-Halik, an autistic Palestinian man, as well as Floyd.
Hello, I'm Pastor Kevin, and welcome to today's special episode of The King's Table. Before I get into what I had promised on my last video that we were going to do today, I felt it was important for me to discuss what's going on right now in our nation and around the world. People are angry, and rightly so, because when we see injustice, of course, our nature is to respond, and often respond in anger and frustration, especially knowing that we live in a land where our creed is all men are created equal, and that we are all servants under the same God. So it's frustrating and it makes you angry. I'm African American, I'm a preacher. But yet, the thing that I saw with Mr. Floyd upset me as well. How can we, as a nation that goes around the world preaching to other countries and other nations about making sure their citizens have the right to be free, but yet in our own nation struggle with the very creed that we claim as ours? Now, I understand the frustration and the anger, but we have to look at this thing in perspective of our current time. Are people angry over over police brutality and how it seems to be a recurring issue in our nation? Of course. But we also understand that we're going through a pandemic. And people are already losing their jobs and businesses are shut down. And all of this on top of that has kind of resonated and exploded within the minds of some and in their hearts and in our society. The anger has crossed color barriers. It's not just angry African Americans you see in these protests. It's people of all creeds, of all colors, and as you've seen, all nations. But what we see now deserves a righteous response. It deserves a righteous answer. But I want you to listen to something I've read in the book of James. And James chapter 1 and verse 20. And it reads, "For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God." The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. What needs to take place in America has to come by hands of our Father, a divine power, because it seems that with this being a recurring issue, that it's like we don't have the courage or the fortitude to deal with this issue equitably and righteously. So if there's anything that I found in my life, when things are hard and it seems that the answers that we seek are fleeting, are hard to grab a hold to, what do? We turn to the one who has the answer, who can create the solution and bring about the atmosphere for all of this to take place. I've told you time and time again, I love to pray because it's in prayer that I have found the answer to some of the most difficult struggles that I've had in life. When I found my way on my knees to the throne of God to ask Him to fix what I couldn't fix, to ask Him to heal what the doctors couldn't heal, He has come in and brought about the answer that I sought of Him. America needs divine intervention. And I know in our current society, and I'm with some of you. I think I look at us as a nation and where we came from and where we are today, and you wonder, what are we thinking? What are we doing? But I have learned in my life that the very answers that are needed are found on my knees. God even said in His word, He said, if my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek His face and turn from our wicked ways. He ain't talking about those that are out there. He's talking about us. He said when we would turn from our wicked ways, then He would hear from heaven. He would forgive the sin and heal the land. Our nation is sick. And for those that think that this is going to take place by force, you're right. But the force is that of heaven and not of man. The Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The battles that need to be fought in America have to be fought on our knees by God's people. Don't look for the world to have a solution to what's happening with law enforcement, with our economy, and with everything else. COVID-19, God has the answer. So be encouraged. Know that if we would just get on our knees, that we too will hear from heaven, and that He will come in and heal our land. So I don't know about you, but today is a special day. I'm ready. God is ready. Are you ready? If you are, then, my friend, let's do this. Hey, welcome to today's special edition of the King's Table. Today I got a recipe for you that I know you're gonna love. I used to make it when I was in the fast food industry, but I believe that you're gonna love this recipe. It is both healthy and delicious. So let's not waste any time. Let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need. So you're gonna need diced chicken, some cranberries that I'm hydrating in a little bit of water to soften them up a bit. For spices, you have salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, your walnuts, some Greek yogurt, which is going to cut down on a little bit of the fat from the mayo. We got some dill, some diced parsley, celery, and onion. And for my secret ingredient, a little sazon, just a little. All right, so let's get started.